Alrighty, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Make sure that you're gonna come on in, hit that like button, hit that share button. We are live, and we'll be here for a little stint here. May go out and buy an Xbox. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how things shake down. But we'll go ahead and get the day started. We'll get the night started wherever you are. Shout out to everybody that's here now. Shout out to everybody that will be here later on, of course. And yeah, make sure you all share the cares. But here we go. What are we going to talk about today? Okay, so what are we going to talk about today is Phil Spencer's apology, which I have no idea why the man apologized. I don't. Like, Microsoft has told these idiots what they're doing, and they refuse to just believe. That's the best way to describe it. These guys just refuse to believe what Microsoft is doing. So, and we're gonna talk about the PS5 Pro. I mean, again, we talked about the Pro months ago over here on this channel, and I mean, you got people picking it up now. Now it's guaranteed, and they're definitely gonna do it and things like that. So. Again, yeah, they have something else in concept. Will it be a Pro, or will they just say, well, this is going to be the PS6? Honestly, that's what we talked about months ago. And I was simply told by my source, everybody knows who my source is, Lou Wafa. He said, when he talked to me about it, he heard my podcast. He said, well, don't call it a Pro, just simply call it the next PlayStation. We also know about PlayStation possibly having an external drive put on for an extension sort of the for the digital guys, because there's a lot of physical collectors out there still, and the trading market, if you want to call it that, the used market, if everything goes digital, they are going to take a pounding. So this keeps them kind of in the game as well. But as far as your Pro is concerned, what are they going to be going for? Everything being 60 frames per second, or at minimum, because they'll be into a new generation or midway through a generation, and everything will be 60 frames per second. When did Sony go into phase 2? I keep hearing people talking about that. Sony went into phase 2 when they had The Last of Us video game come out for the PS5 only, and the TV show came out. That was phase 2. Now, people will say, well, The Last of Us has a 4K native 30 build. What are you talking about? Yes, it's a 4K native 30 build. And it looks stunning. Look, I'm playing it on my PS5. It looks stunning on the OLED. Let me make that clear. I think a lot of people this generation, they don't have the proper equipment to see these games. They don't. And they just, I mean, the movies, the games, look, when you get something, whether it's a monitor or whether it's a television set that does the VRR and HDR and things like that, when you get that equipment, in which is the minority of people. Now, I understand the people who listen to this podcast, you may have an OLED or a really good monitor. The majority of people don't have that. And again, it doesn't mean they don't have good TVs or good monitors. They just don't have the best stuff. When I play my games on my PlayStation or whatever, I have the best stuff available. It's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. I'm watching episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I have that on my OLED TV. The picture is stunning. And this is a stream picture, a 4K stream picture with Dolby Atmos and all that kind of stuff. So it just does. It is. It's just a very good looking picture, but you're not going to get that on a lot of these LEDs. And so again, if you're going to buy another monitor or television, I recommend you buy a monitor anyway. You can get a good monitor a really good monitor for under $400. That's what you should try to do to play these games. And a lot of these guys that are complaining about this stuff, and women that are complaining about the stuff where this is a true next gen because we're at 30 frames per second. I told all these punk asses that 30 frames per second wasn't going anywhere, especially in the early part of the generation. But they just want to keep bitching and moaning and complaining, but 30 frames won't go away, and you'll start seeing it dissipate next year because you'll have more games out, especially with Sony games. All the Sony games that are PS4 that leap to the PS5, they're 60 FPS. Whether it's The Last of Us Part 2, or if you just have the Ghost of Tsushima, I'm sorry. If you didn't go out and get the PS5 version of Ghost of Tsushima, the PS4 version, when you stick it in your PS5, stick it in, it's 60 frames per second. It will do 60 frames per second. So do not fall for their BS. You have a 1080p 60 FPS version of all the Uncharted games. You've got the Uncharted 4 Legacy of Thieves, or whatever it's called, Thieves Collection, where those two games are running at 60 and 120 frames respectively, give or take. So do not listen to their bullcrap. What they want to do is their channels are suffering because Sony won't give out any information and things like that. So they're suffering. But if you want 60 frames every day, all night, and twice on Sunday, you game on PC. That's what you do. You build yourself a PC, then you go play your games. Now, I've said before, why do I say 30 FPS wasn't going to go anywhere? Because games like that new game that just came out, Alien Dawn, whatever it's called something like that. So, I forgot what it's called. Crash Landed, Alien Dawn. Games like that, XCOM, Civilization, real-time strategy, they don't need to be 60 frames per second. So why make it like that? You're wasting resources. Games like XCOM and stuff like that don't have to be like that. So when whatever it is, whether it's, so 30 ain't going nowhere. And but as far as your bigger games, name all these games are 60 frames per second. Even Burning Swords is 60 frames per second. So The Last of Us, came out 60. So don't get caught up in that bull crap. But with the Pro, you will have native 60 will be your starting point. Then you will move on from there. You will have native 60, native 120. You'll have ray tracing at 4K native, full ray tracing. Okay, not partial, not, well, we can do it a little bit better at 1440p, something like that. So just imagine Spider-Man, which does have a 4K version of it. Spider-Man has a 4K version of it, but it's checkerboarded. That would be native. And it would be 60 frames per second locked like it already is, but they would have those extra ray tracing cores, and they would just say, yeah, we can build off of these ray tracing cores. Just imagine Insomniac is the wizards that they are getting that dev kit. But I thought it was hilarious when people were saying the dev kits are going out. These are the same people that told you that we don't need a pro. We don't need a pro. Well, again, Chocolate Thunder got double life. He don't care. He ain't getting out. And these guys saying, well, we don't need this. Here's let me break that down for you in layman talk. I don't have the money to buy it, therefore they shouldn't do it. Okay, so every time you hear somebody say we don't need, what they're saying is I can't afford. Just replace we don't need with I can't afford, and then you get everything you get. Now, if you don't want it, that's different. There's a difference in not needing and you not wanting. But again, the Pro was reported by myself, I know by Foxy Games UK, and we got mocked and laughed at. Here you are. Now these quote unquote white guys are saying it. Shout out to the white guys, but now they're saying, oh, it must be true. It was true when we told you. So, this ain't about flowers and stuff like that. This is about you all learning who you can trust with your information and who you can't trust. So, but that's your Pro in a nutshell. I've been told it's going to be anywhere from 14, it'll be close to 14 teraflops, which we know don't mean a hill of beans, but the main thing they're doing is the ray tracing cores. I don't have anything else on the RAM and how fast it's going to be. It's going to have some RDNA 3 calls on it. Could possibly be possibly a 5 nanometer chip. They may stick with the 6. Depends on how they got to cool it. So cool it down. So That's it. I mean, again, I feel bad for you all because you all are just born into nothing is true. Now, I've always said it's not 100% official until we hear from the horse's mouth. That's 100%. So if you want to say, all right, yeah, there's some information possibly out there, but I'm going to hold off until we hear it from Sony. That makes a lot of sense too, because that's where I am with it. That's why I don't talk about it. Like, the information's out there, can't really be confirmed, but I got it from a couple of sources, and that's what I rocked with. And now these other people are just popping up. And yes, Sony could come out tonight and say, this isn't true, we're not doing this. So that's why I don't really talk about it a heck of a whole lot. So, but there you have it with the PS5 Pro. And I just call it the next PlayStation. I've been doing that for months. So, but we'll move on to the big juicy part of this podcast, which is Phil Spencer apologizing. And I truly don't understand why he would apologize when Microsoft has told these numbnut nibbies what they were doing. I can see if they hadn't, I can see if they didn't tell people what they were doing. I'm gonna try to find a Matt Booty quote that he said, months ago. Let's see here. Making AA games feel AAA. Let's see here. See here. Oh, this was in 22. This was in 20. Maybe he said something here. I don't know if I can find it because he said it such a long time ago. Let's see here. Xbox Matt Booty excited. No. This isn't it. All right. So we'll start with what Matt Booty said. So Matt Booty, and I'm going to paraphrase him. Matt Booty said that that they're not going to be able to make a bunch of AAA games because it's too expensive. He even said that you would see studios splitting the cost, which goes in line with what he said. That's why you saw Crystal Dynamics is coming in and helping. I can't remember if it was with Fable or Perfect Dark or something like that, but that's what they're doing. He also said something that was important, but I guess went over everybody's head, which was that Microsoft was not going to be doing major AAA games. They would want to do AA games that gave you a AAA feel. That's what I'm trying to find here. I'm actually trying to find the AA games with a AAA feeling. I'm just gonna put Matt Booty. Let's see here. This is about how they're making games. But he goes on to say how we make games is evolving. The idea of a single team under one roof really doesn't happen that often anymore. So this kind of goes to that announcement. And let's see here. Booty announces. No, I can't find that quote. But if you go back into the history, you'll know what I'm saying is true. And that's what Microsoft has done. This is why I literally had to come out and say, I have no problem with what Microsoft is doing. Now, I do feel sorry for the people who went out and bought an Xbox Series X, because as Optimus Code said, rest in peace Code, that the Series S was going to bottleneck everything. That's what he was saying. And, he got called everything but a child of God. So they did not want to believe what people who actually had connection to developers said. And I put that on those people, but you got these influencers out there like Dealer and Mac Gaming and Colt Eastwood, D-Batch, just simply not being 100% honest. And they're putting out what they want versus what the company has said. So I put part of this on them as well, but it's also on these idiots but I mean, Microsoft told you what they were doing. That's why when Phil Spencer apologized, I'm like, he doesn't need to apologize. I can see if they did not tell people what they were doing, but they did. So I disagree with all these people coming out, and it doesn't matter whether they're quote PlayStation or not. I disagree because Matt Booty told us this. He told us this, and I remember Matt Booty saying that. So it's Phil Spencer apologizing like he didn't have to apologize, because it's like, it's not his fault that instead of believing the actual people who are in charge, you believe dealer gaming. You believe, okay? I mean, it is the truth. And, you know, Matt, hey, we're not going to make these big games anymore, per Matt Booty, who's in charge over there. Hey, Matt Booty said it. I didn't say it. I'm not being a Sony pony. I mean, I'm not. But Phil Spencer apologizing is it's a damn joke. It's a joke. They haven't done anything wrong. If it's about Redfall, that's exactly what they're going to make. They're trying to make AA games that feel AAA. Why do you think they bought Ninja Theory? Hellblade is a AA game, but it feels like a AAA game. It gives you that feeling. It's small. It's a small game, but the story, the character, what you have to do, the way you have to kind of solve those puzzles, it feels like a AAA game. And that's what they're going for. And again, Hellblade 2, people are like, what's Hellblade 2 going to be about? It's going to be the same thing, except it's going to look better and have better sound. So people are like, well, can it save the console? No, it's not supposed to save the console. That's when Phil Spencer, people got hung up on his apology. What he did say was accurate. They already know Microsoft is in the toilet when it comes to this stuff. They know that. So they have to create an avenue for them to make games, because they can't regain market share from PlayStation. They're not going to be able to. They know they can't. And today he came out and said, we're never going to get the market share back. That's why when the CMA blocked the Activision deal, that was the devastating blow, was the market share, was that Microsoft did a Hail Mary attempt trying to buy Activision. You know, they do a Hail Mary here in order to get market share. That's what this was about. This was about, how can we get market share? And they think, okay, some PlayStation owners, and remember what Jim Ryan's biggest fear was. Jim Ryan said what his biggest fear was, you know, is that people would leave the PlayStation and go buy Xboxes, because that affects your market share. And I know a lot of you all may not understand that, but that is the truth here. These guys Sony wants to gain market share or maintain it. So they're staunch down about the deal. They're like, no, we don't want this. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense for them to file the complaint that they filed. But it did not, it fell on deaf ears in the end. The CMA was like, no, even though it could affect your market share, we don't care that it's going to affect your market share. That's, if you lose 10% of your market share, 20% of market share, you still have majority market share. That's kind of the way that's what they said. And then they moved on to cloud, and they were like, well, wait a minute, Microsoft has this huge thing, but we're not talking about that. Phil Spencer apologizing for Redfall's disappointing launch, but promises to keep working on it. Yeah, but the working on it is not going to go. All right, and the reason why it's not going to go is because that's not what they want to do. They want to create a bunch of games like Redfall and give you, again, Deathloop. What's the name of that other one? Ghostwire Tokyo, or Wire Ghost, whatever it is. Again, I'm not here to say those games are good or bad. I haven't played them. So this is not what this is about. This is about you all listening to the people who actually are in charge. Okay? You listen to the people that are in charge and have the access to the developers. They're going to make, I expect Starfield. What is my expectation for Starfield? I expect it to be just like a little bit like No Man's Sky. and a little bit like Mass Effect Andromeda. Why do you say Mass Effect Andromeda? Over the shoulder combat, enemies in front. That's why. And when you look at Mass Effect Andromeda, that's exactly what it looks like. And that's fine. You even had the jetpack. Again, people, when I say it looks like Mass Effect Andromeda, one of the good things about Mass Effect Andromeda, one of the only good things, was the combat system. The combat system was really good. Really good. The story was trash. Why do I say No Man's Sky about Starfield? Because you're out there mining with the same looking weapon, getting things, which is fine. Okay, that worked for No Man's Sky. I didn't like it at first because it wasn't an accurate thing of the table of elements, but okay, that's fine. Fe is iron, C is calcium, and blah, or carbon, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think it's like that in No Man's Sky. Maybe they changed it. I haven't played it in years. But I understand that. And again, I have said this 100,000 times. Sick Humor was 100% right. Why are you guys arguing with them when you can go look at the statements that Microsoft has put out and just say, look, this is not happening. Here's what they're doing. It's no different than when Warner Brothers came out and they said, and I'm gonna quote Warner Brothers, we want the same results that Marvel's getting, but we want to do it differently. And people thought all these Batman fans and Superman fans thought that, well, gee whiz, they're going to do it's going to be better. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. They want the same results, but they don't want to put in the work. Microsoft, again, knows they can't outsell PlayStation. So they tried to outspend them. It ain't going to work either. As Neil Druckmann or somebody said, you just can't put a bunch of people in a room and then get good continuity. As good as those people may be, they may not get along with each other. How many bands have broken up over the years because somebody didn't get along with the other person? It doesn't matter. I mean, there's some bands that stayed together. Shout out to Fleetwood Mac. Rest in peace, Christy McVie, no doubt. But Fleetwood Mac, they couldn't stand each other, but they made good music, which means they were making money. And it's like, well, the money trumps everything at this point. We're just making too much money, so let's just keep creating music. But this has already been said. You may have the biggest guys out there to change a tire in a NASCAR race, but if they don't work well together in continuity, the pit stop is going to be shit, and everybody knows that. So I hate the fact that Phil Spencer apologized because they did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong. They told people exactly what they were getting, and that's what they got. And yes, you do have a bunch of people online, Crap Gamer, D-Batch, Post Up. I get the back and forth, but now the shit is just old. And these guys are, I heard another YouTuber on Brap, I don't know who it was, saying, why are you listening to Dustin Legary? Why are you listening to Jez Gordon? These guys have an agenda and they're gonna constantly spin. Like, I mean, they're just gonna spin. Like they're inside of a hurricane because that's their jobs. Okay, and that is their jobs, so they can maintain access to Xbox. But I know it and you know it. Me and King Thrasher said this thing is going away. Their main goal going forward will be to put, again, they want to put Game Pass on all systems, including PlayStation, and we know that from the disclosure. Now, I told Thrash my opinion on that was by 2026, I think, 2026, late 25, early 26, it was something like that. So that's where we're tracking. That's exactly, this is 2024 or 2023. We're in May. This year is close to 40% being over. We're right at 40%. When we get to like the 17th, we go past 40%. And again, I'm glad Microsoft put their, I'm glad Microsoft said, hey, we're doing our June conference. We're going to have a Starfield thing. Fine. Perfect. I mean, that's fine. So But, you know, I've heard people from Reforged Gaming to other people come out, and shout out to Reforged Gaming. You know, does Starfield have to be, like Phil Spencer said, even if it's an 11 out of 10, it's not going to move people to sell their PlayStations. And again, them Broken Games HD made a good point. He made a good point when he said that but more people may buy Xboxes. But what if those PlayStation guys buy Xboxes? That's not going to change the market share. Because that's an even split, right? They have PlayStations, they have Xboxes. What Microsoft needs to have happen is they have got to get people to stop buying PlayStations and go buy Xboxes. That would have been another benefit from the Activision deal. Because a lot of people, even though I don't do it, you may not do it, they would have called in the B2 and gotten one-man army on Xbox. And Microsoft knows that. That's why their reaction to the deal not going through was visceral. It was physical. They were physically disturbed by what happened. Okay? Because they can't believe it. It's like, okay, like they have said, when that Horizon game came out and then the Final Fantasy trailer came out, within 48 hours of each other, showed gameplay, that's something that simple started what you're seeing now. That's where everything started. Remember, a butterfly flaps its wings in China and a monsoon starts, you know, halfway around the world. That's what you're seeing. You're now seeing the monsoon. People wanting Phil Spencer fired. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So get that bullshit out of your mind. Phil Spencer literally saved Xbox by making it a subscription-based service. It has to be that. Why? Because they can't sell physically the way they thought they could. The numbers are not good. Sony is increasing their numbers. Nintendo and Microsoft are doing bad. But Nintendo's about to explode when this new Zelda game comes out. Once again, Zelda ran away and Link's got to go find her because he's a simp. You know, so he's a simp with a sword. Fine. I mean, once the woman leaves, just let her leave. Who cares, right? So, but again, it's going to happen. So just like Game Pass it's going to happen. It's just going to happen on Sony's terms. Just like crossplay. Everybody who knows anything about that was like Sony was trying to position themselves so that they could get more money because people wanted access to their ecosystem. All right, fine. You're gonna pay us for that. And what you offered us ain't enough, and you're gonna give us what we want. And they got it. They had leverage. We have something that you want, and you're gonna give it to us. You know, so don't listen to these cats. Well, they'll never do it. Look, Chocolate Thunder got double life. And so, you know, don't ever say never. Okay, don't ever say never. That's kind of what I wanted to put out about this. I will read your statements. If you have any questions, just form it as a question. If you want to send a super chat, so we can stunt and strip for electric light money or whatever people are calling it, that's fine. But just do it as a question, and I'll just go through the reads here. And there's not a whole lot being said. Again, I want to make this clear. If you have a question, if you have an opinion about it, that's fine as well. But I'd rather just take questions on this. I'll do more opinion stuff Saturday morning. I'm getting up early Saturday morning. So, but again, I don't know why Phil, my position, I don't know why Phil apologized, because Matt Booty told people years ago they're going to make AA games. They're cheaper, but they want a big AAA feel. They want that quality feel. And that's what they're going for. And people saying, well, this is Sony's fault. That it was, well, Microsoft has nothing to do with this game. That is straight up BS. Everybody knows it. I don't get why people go back and forth with them online. You know, they are literally just saying things to get people to react to them. I don't know if you know that or not. They have said it. These guys have actually said it. We're just saying this stuff to get the quote ponies to get upset. You don't have to correct them. Everybody knows they're a bunch of liars. Like I said, these guys would walk into the house and catch their wife getting double teamed by Chocolate Thunder and one of his boys, And they're going to say, well, golly gee, I can't believe Amanda did this to me, but hey, I got Game Pass. That's the way they are. Just a bunch of fruit booty incels. And why going back when we can see, we can just look at what Matt Booty says. Yeah, look, they just want AA games on their system. And occasionally they'll drop a pearl. You know, Forza Motorsports should be a pearl. We know it. And I'm not saying it's not going to be better than Gran Turismo. It's not about that. It's about it having a lineage going back over a decade and being a quality game. This game should be no different. You know, so, I mean, whether it's good, whether it's bad, or whether it's as good as Gran Turismo or looks as good, that's fine. I mean, you can have your own discussions on that crap. But, again, it won't be, the experience won't be as good because they don't have VR. They don't. They're just like the flight sim game. If you have that on Xbox, you're playing at 30 frames per second and you don't have VR, which adds another layer to your experience playing the flight sim game. So again, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. We'll look at who is here, see if there's any questions. And if there are, great. If not, we can go ahead and get the shop ready to slow it down. Where else is in the house? How you doing? Mario Heat's here. Charles Hawk is here. A Beanie Gaming, long time no here. How you doing there? PlayStation Ecstasy, what's up? Rudy, how you doing, man? D-Nice41, Sir X Sandman, how are you doing? Advocates in the house, being an advocate. J-Roll49, what's going on, my brother? Silver Grain, what's happening? What's happening? And who else is here? Oh, Nova Red, how are you doing? What's the deal with GT6 and Take-Two? Well, we'll talk about that later on in the year. If it, got to get more information on it. So, but let's see who else is here. Let's see here. What was the poll? Let's bring it up again. Yeah, make sure you participate in the poll. Should Phil Spencer have apologized today for Redfall? Yeah, I'm not going to vote in it, but my answer is no. He should not have done that. So Mario Heat says, quote, "We are not in the business to make great games. We'll release 80 or 60 rate games." He never said 10 out of 10 or 90. Well, yeah, because again, you never know how people are going to react to what you're doing. So yes, you want all your, and to me, games in the 90s are just like, wow, you have to salute to those games. The vast majority of games are in the 70s and 80s. That's the reality. The vast majority are in the 70s and 80s. That's just where we're at. As good as Spider-Man is, and that was a really good game. It's what, an 84, 85, give or take. But again, they tie bonuses to Metacritic. They being these developing companies, they the shareholders. Well, you get this on Metacritic, we'll give you this. It's no different than artists being told, well, yes, you can go ahead and be a broke mixtape rapper, but you need to put something on the radio. That's what happened to hip hop. That's why all the sellouts started. Just people started selling out. Shout out to KRS-One, tells a wonderful story about it. So, D-Nice41 says, should have had a third option for who cares. Spencer's endless babble is worthless. Yeah, I know, because it is worthless, but understand why it's worthless. People are going to listen to him instead of listening to the head of Xbox Games, Matt Booty, who is in charge of the direction that they're going. Phil Spencer is backing him 100%. And again, they want AA games in Game Pass that give you a AAA feel, like Hellblade. That's just the reality. I don't get it at this point anymore. I don't get it at this point anymore. So, and what you have is a group of people online, and I'm calling them out, who didn't tell the truth about 12 T-flops and 52 CUs. It's all theoretical. Well, guess what? Based on Einstein's Rosenbridge theory, time travel is theoretically possible. So, and they got mad at Sean Murray, the person that created No Man's Sky. He literally came out over about 2 weeks ago and was like, look, I'm a game developer. You don't need all these teraflops and compute units. No developer is going to use that. And they got mad at him. You don't know what you're talking about. I mean, that's what you're dealing with. So shout out to Sick Humor, who said, why are you all arguing with these guys online? I mean, I see guys like Vet, V'ger, and all those. Shout out to those guys, but why are you all arguing? It's like, damn, these dudes, like I said, these guys would, you know, these guys are not smart. And a lot of the stuff is just being said so that they get clicks and they get things like that. You guys have created what is known as the gig economy because you're a bunch of idiots. Just don't talk to them. Let them suffer in silence. I have said before, I got no problem with Xbox because I understand what their goals are. Like, so fine. This is perfectly fine. You know, it's like, what's the difference between SpaceX and NASA? Well, NASA wants to actually put things on other planets. SpaceX doesn't want to do that. That's what SpaceX is doing. Okay, SpaceX wants to do lower Earth orbit and maybe build a moon base. Lower Earth orbit was already established by NASA's Mercury program in the 50s or late 50s, wherever it was. So that's the difference. That is the difference in what they do. And if you understand that, when SpaceX launches a rocket, you think, well, yeah, they're going to go to Mars. No, they're not. No, they're not. They may not get to Mars for 25 years. Now, when they get there, they'll do it more efficiently than NASA. They won't use as much fuel, blah, blah, blah. But they're launching satellites. If you are signed up to SpaceX's YouTube channel, they're launching satellites so that countries all around the world can have 5G. That's what they're doing. So Silvergrain says, until Sony confirms PS Pro, you can't believe it. That makes sense. That's fine. That's actually a pretty logical way to look at things. So, the downward incline, what up? Yeah, Phil waved the white flag. Yeah. I mean, again, that's why I'm like, he didn't have to apologize for something that they said they were doing years ago. It's not Phil Spencer's fault that these idiots didn't listen. You know, it is. It is not his fault. And that's what, if I had done that interview, that's what I would have said. Hey, we're not going to be able to make games like Sony. It costs too much money. We don't have the install base, which is actually what the issue is. Therefore, they're not going to cater to it. I mean, Phil came out and said, high fidelity VR. Guess what? The ecosystem wasn't big enough to launch that kind of money into R&D. They didn't do it. They didn't do it. Again, that's the truth. That's the truth. And it's not my fault that there are people both in the Xbox community and in the Sony community, so to speak, who don't understand that. And I think Broken Games HD made a legitimate point when he said Microsoft is happy being where they are. This is Nintendo carved out their own little niche of the smorgasbord and said, we'll eat over here. We won't F with you all. Y'all are good. Y'all don't have to come over here, but we have good stuff over here too. Okay, fine. Microsoft is doing the exact same thing. This is their part of the smorgasbord. Here's what they're going to serve. And if you don't like it, why are you complaining about it? And you get people saying, you all just want people to quit Xbox. You all just don't want people to enjoy it. No, we just simply want people to accept the truth. Now, if they don't, you can't shove truth down their faces. It will take sentinel events like the CMA deal happening. That was a sentinel event. You're going to get events like this week with Redfall launching, another sentinel event, Strike 2. Then you have Phil apologizing, Strike 3. Guess what? You all should have listened to what these guys said. It was Phil Spencer who said, what if you can play that game, your favorite game, on any platform? Phil Spencer said that years ago. He said that. Matt Booty said, we're going to make AA games, but we want it to have a AAA feel. That's the truth again. And so why are you guys arguing what a bunch of numbnut nibbies when the truth is right there? Hey, the car, they tell you the car, your engineers come up to you and say, the car goes 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds. Are you just going to believe your engineers? Or are you going to say, let's put it on the track? Because what if it does do that in that amount of time, but it only does it in the morning when you have different barometric pressures on those tires? You do it in the afternoon, you can't do it. Do it in the evening, it doesn't work. Morning time, you get it. Do you put your name on there, or do you say, hey, look, we got to get it to work 2 out of the 3 points of the day? And when developers said to everybody, developers like IO, developers like Ubisoft said, the PS5 is a monster, it's a beast, it's going to be really good, it's going to create, you know, DreamWorks or whatever it was, like graphics, whatever they said on their games. Nobody wanted to believe the developers, the people who actually had the damn dev kits creating things. Well, they're just saying that nobody's going to use the PlayStation to stream data. That's only going to be first party. You know, it is what it is. You know, Nova Red says, apologize or not, no broken games for $70. Well, again, if you know what's coming, why are people complaining? Well, this isn't worth $70, and then don't buy it. But again, these guys want to sell a dream that they can make games like Sony, and nobody can make games like Sony. Nobody makes these games like this. Maybe Quantum Dream does something similar to that kind of quality. That's why everybody thought Sony should have gobbled them up. Quality. Now, I didn't play Heavy Rain. My friend Herman Lee, shout out to him. He thinks, him and his wife think Heavy Rain is the greatest game ever made. Like better than everything. That's what they think, though. I never really got into Heavy Rain. Oh, they went to Xbox first to go ahead and make Heavy Rain, and Xbox said no. So Sony liked the game. They made 3 games. I like 2 out of the 3 I heard are really good. I tried Beyond Two Souls. I thought it was garbage. I played it for an hour. I just couldn't get into it. Maybe it gets better as I play it. It doesn't. Again, if it doesn't hook me within the first 30 to 40 minutes, I start getting upset. That's why. And now, granted, Days Gone was like that. And what have I said to you all? Hey, look, once his friend gets his arm cut off or gets sawed off, that's when the game really starts getting fun. I'm like, all right, somebody's getting their arm cut off, so I'll hang out for a little longer. And then you start going out on the missions and you're going after different people, stuff like that, bounty hunting. I'm like, all right, this game has gotten better. You know, this has gotten better for me. You know, the zombie hordes are fun. Of course, I don't know when they're coming. Everybody says, you got to listen to the music. Still can't tell when they're coming. You know, which is stupid because the sound, I thought a bunch of zombies running at you should have made a hell of a lot of noise. So, but it doesn't, and that's part of the game. That's the way they design the game. Okay, fine. But my point to you is that they don't make games like that. You know, and even though if that game comes out on Xbox, that game probably gets an 80, 87. But on PlayStation, a game like Days Gone is just considered, this kind of like, it's okay. But that's the quality difference. That's the quality difference. If you go to watch the Black Widow movie with Marvel, that movie isn't bad. It's not bad. But when you're in that Marvel ecosystem, you're just kind of like, man, this was, You know, when you're used to something like Avengers Age of Ultron or Iron Man 2, or, I mean, you get it, you know, Captain America Civil War. When you're used to that kind of quality, Shang-Chi, stuff like that, when you're used to that kind of quality, you're something like Black Widow comes out, you're like, man, but if that was a Warner Brothers film, it would have been like, oh man, this is really good because of the quality. You know, because of the quality. Yeah, Black Widow was trash compared to the other stuff. It was. I agree with that. The Ratchet and Clank proved that hat already. Yeah, there's been nothing. Insomniac is, look, I've not even tried to play Ratchet and Clank on my OLED because somebody told me I would just explode. You know, I haven't gone back to play the Spider-Man games and Miles Morales. Look, I'm having the Forbidden West game looks effing great. Like, I'm talking Dig'em snacks. It looks that good. So, and I'm maybe 21% done with that. You know, something like that. 21s, I think it said percent done. So I'm not going to get Even though it mentions the stuff happening in the West. And I'm mad at myself for not playing Forbidden West because it has a science fiction twist in it more than I thought it would. So that really hooked me in. I played for 10 hours a couple weeks ago. 10 hours. Had 2 remotes or 2 controllers and kept playing. Age of Ultron's a very good film. Well, I mean, my point to you is that the quality of Marvel stuff is just so much better than Warner stuff. Over Red, so you think Xbox should make a Xbox lawsuit? For what? They told them what they were doing. They have totally disclosed what they want to do. And the problem that I am seeing is that you have a bunch of Xbox people saying that, well, that's not true. And you have some PlayStation people saying, well, I don't, PlayStation, Sony, Microsoft has to do this, this, and this. You're never going to buy the game. Why am I going to buy Starfield? Because I play games like Starfield. That's up my alley. It's like I'm going to buy the Gray Hill Incident. That's right up my alley. That looks like some X-Files stuff. Like if X-Files could be a video game, it would be that game. And that game's coming out, what, next month? I'll be playing that. I can't speak for you all. If Phil has done anything. Phil has done anything since he took over. Yeah, they're fine. They're fine. He got to find a way for them to compete, and that's what they're trying to do. And that's why they're like, oh, they're not going by sales. They're going by MAUs and all that kind of stuff. So it's just, they're doing exactly what they said they were going to do, and you got a bunch of fanboys online who are just, they're not willing to accept it. And that goes both ways. These Xbox fanboys won't accept it, but neither will the PlayStation fanboys. All you have to do is go pull up what they said. And it's kind of like, yeah, dude, what you're saying is, these guys call Lisa Su a liar. Lisa Su, who's in charge of AMD, is lying. She just said that. She didn't mean it. No, the PlayStation is not going to do this. Y'all need to quit lying. I mean, that's where you're at with these guys. And that was 3 years ago. That was 3 years ago. So it just, damn, I mean, I don't get why there's people arguing with them anymore. I mean, people are just dumb at this point. People are dumb. Yo, 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 says PlayStation Ecstasy. So I'm just at a point now where, yeah, do I think Phil raised the white flag? And yeah, in a way he did, but you got to look at what they have said before. So kind of like, they raised the white flag years ago. That's why I've been like, well, the console war is over, but you got these jackhoes who are basically like, well, I made my money. I made my I have a console war mentality, but I will give them credit now. They are at least calling themselves console war guys. I mean, that's fine as long as they declare that you're a piece of crap before I start listening to you. I know you're a piece of crap. You can't draw me in. Yeah, if you got anything to do with the console war, I do not listen to you. So, I mean, I just don't. I'm not going to waste my time on something that's over, that's done with. I listened to Phil Spencer. It didn't sound like he was asking for sympathy, D-Nice41. It was just like, yeah, this is what they're doing. And I mean, again, people aren't going to like everything you do. Now, do I think Redfall, what happened with Redfall? Redfall got caught up in, we have this and you don't. All right, that's what it got caught up in. It's caught up in, we have this and you don't. Because like I said the other day, they are pissed off to the point where they're so mad they're turning gay. Okay? They're like gay mad, okay? And they are still mad over Spider-Man not coming to their console. They're fearing. They lost their minds when that happened. I keep trying to tell people, when Spider-Man got announced that it was only going to be on PlayStation, something within the Xbox community broke. Something broke, and they have been going nuts ever since. You just trace it back to that. You will rule the day. You don't put this game on the world's most powerful console. So I mean, stuff like that. That Phil passed the buck. No, Phil Spencer, again, Paul, you did not listen to what they said years ago. That's all this is going to come down to. Phil Spencer is backing Matt Booty. Matt Booty said years ago, we're going to make AA games. We want them to have a big AAA feel. And he brought up Hellblade. He brought up Hellblade being a AA game, but giving you a bigger game feel, which it does do that. They're trying to capture that again. Because again, Hellblade has a beginning, middle, and end. They're making a sequel. How? How? This game has a beginning, middle, and end. But okay. It did say 60 FPS uncompromised performance. Yeah, that is, I agree. And I said this before. Where I think they deserve the criticism is their first party studios not achieving 60 FPS uncompromised. I agree with you. I agree with that. That's legitimate criticism. But you can't criticize third-party developers only doing 30. I mean, you can, but you sound retarded. Because if they don't want to do it, there's nothing you can do. It's not, oh, you all better do this or else. Like, or else what? You still believe Microsoft going to, yeah, I said that years ago. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, they're going to maintain the same. Okay, all right. Now you got more people piling on saying they're going the way of Sega. Yeah, I mean, okay, fine. They literally in legal paperwork disclose they approached Sony about Game Pass. So they want to go third party. It's just a matter of time now. They're on a clock. The Call of Duty thing would have sped it up. Them not getting Call of Duty slowed it down. Like Porter Rock said, grand opening, grand closing. I mean, it was, I mean, that's the way that was. This is going to take them longer to get there. But eventually they will strike a deal because it's about money. It ain't about your feelings. F you and F your feelings. Your feelings don't spin. Your feelings don't make the world go round. Nobody cares how something makes you feel. So get that through your damn brains. I don't know who your fathers are, but they should have kicked your asses, for not understanding that. This is about what's the best deal, what's going to make us the most money. And if Sony can go ahead and get Microsoft to say, okay, guys, if you just want to bring your first party games over, your Gears of War, your Halo, your Forzas, fine. And you charge us, whatever per month. It'd be just like EA Access or whatever it's called, EA and Ubisoft, all these developers, all these devs going to this type of service. You want to do the same thing? Let's sit down and talk to see how this would work. There ain't nothing wrong with grown-ups meeting. Well, I mean, some of you all may have a problem with that. But grown-ups meet all the time. Even people who are competing against each other. Apple and Microsoft don't like each other. They don't. But they will sit down and talk when it's time to make money. Because they both want to make money. Satya said we need to move. We need more with less. Yes, again, more. Remember, Microsoft's DNA is what? Quantity over quality. More with less. Less quality, but more quantity. That's what he's saying. I mean, again, this is Microsoft's DNA. It's not my fault. People out there don't know it. But again, maybe you all should read the books that are out there about Microsoft with Bill Gates and Paul Allen. Because the information's out there. You got information at your fingertips and you're stupid. Like literally, you all have gotten dumber because technology makes you lazy. It does. Technology makes you lazy. I saw somebody riding a bicycle that was motorized. Why? Again, why? Why are you riding a motorized bicycle? The goal is for you to pedal to get exercise. Not this numbnut nibby, okay? Not this moist ass. He was riding a bicycle that had an electric motor on it. Just unbelievable, unbelievable. So, but this has ended. I mean, I said this months ago. The console war is over. But when you got a group of men, and I said men, grown-ass men who have made their bones talking about the console war, they're just not, it's in their vested interest not to let it go. So everything will be a versus, like Miller versus Budweiser, Coke versus Pepsi, Starfield versus Spider-Man. Well, we don't know what Starfield's going to be. We have a sense on what quality Spider-Man is going to be, but we don't know what they're going to be. We don't know. Sony going in the wrong direction. I can't believe that Sony is putting games on PC. And now the money, how much money they've come out with and things like that with the disclosure, their financial disclosures, those guys just they disappeared because they had to settle in for the night with Chocolate Thunder. And Chocolate Thunder got double life. So as long as you all can understand that, as long as you all understand who you're listening to and why, again, because over here we ask why. When you understand why people are doing things, you can predict their behavior. You can predict their behavior. So these guys will go on a predictive behavior. Why? Because they have a vested interest in this happening. But hey, if you didn't listen to Matt Booty, you didn't listen to what he was saying when he's been interviewed multiple times, that's not Microsoft's fault. That's why I don't understand why Phil said he apologized. I don't know why he apologized. Again, let me make this clear. If you all have a legitimate criticism when you say they said 60, they said they would have VR, you're right. You're 100% right. They said they were going to do it. They didn't do it, or they decided for some reason it couldn't happen. Fine. That's a legitimate criticism of Microsoft. But they have ever since then they have come out and told you exactly what they're going to do. They've said it. Look, I hate the fact that the Microsoft Flight Sim is 30 FPS. I hate it. But I also understand that the Xbox Series S is the bulk of their sales, and they are targeting that platform, which means that people who have the Xbox One X are getting the shaft. Those people, I think, have a legitimate concern on what's going on. But I think both those Xboxes will run the Forza game, Motorsports at 60, yeah. Even if the S has to do a 1080p 60 mode, that's what they're going to do. Maybe they can get it to 1440p dynamic. We'll have to wait and see. Redfall, yeah, that's a disaster. I mean, that's it's as bad as what people were saying it was going to be. It's arguably worse because, as I've heard other people say, Microsoft no longer has any momentum. They don't have a runway. Sony can afford to put games out that may not do as well because they have a wider berth because of games like Forbidden. Yeah, they got a Forbidden West. They also got the game, is it Tachia or Tachai, whatever it is. They also got that game. They got a game with a pussycat running around, for crying out loud. So, and again, I'm not here to say those games aren't good. I haven't really played them. Like I said, I can't play the game Stray because I don't I don't play with pussy like that. So I just can't do it. But I've heard it's a really good game. So, but that's pretty much all I had for you. He said it looks like they're going third party. They already are. When they were striking those deals, they struck a deal with Nintendo. You get a deal, you get a deal, you get a deal. That's third party stuff. That's what third-party developers do, right? They strike deals to put on multiple platforms. That's what Microsoft is offering with Call of Duty, right? You have to sign this. You're going to get the game. Stray is cute. I'm not here to say it's not a good game or anything like that. So, yes, the in-game is putting Game Pass on PlayStation and canceling Xbox. Yeah, their in-game is to do that and to build cloud-based system because they have Azure. And I don't know if you understand how big Azure is. It is huge. It is huge. They have server farms. I live in a farm state. I can't imagine the wheat being this with a bunch of servers out there. That's what their Azure cloud is. It is humongous. It is bigger than I think the Oracle one and IBM combined. I mean, those are two pretty big companies. AWS is maybe the biggest, but man, Azure is right there. But yeah, that's the end game. They don't want to keep they don't want to keep having to do R&D on their consoles to put out consoles that are barely going to sell. They may sell, I mean, they're tracking to sell about 50 million again. That's you know, are you going to keep coming back saying we need billions of dollars to build another console when we know our install base is 50 million? No, you're not. That's just, people eventually, they're going to say no. They're going to say, look, we took the gloves off. We did everything we could. We can't make a dent in this wall. This is done. So we're going into the cloud, which I don't have an issue with. Isn't it Sony who just put out a patent or said they have a patent that they've cured the latency issue? If you don't think Microsoft won't talk to them about that, you're crazy. And if you don't think Sony won't sit down and talk to Microsoft about it, doesn't mean, again, it doesn't mean that things are going, that they're just going to be buddy-buddy. It just means you're going to talk to them. Sony can say, yes, we have this, and here's our latency patent as far as here's the way it's working right now. And Microsoft could say, yo, we really are interested in that. And then Sony said, well, you know what? We're going to go to Google because Google makes phones, okay? We're going to go to AT&T because AT&T makes phones. Now, Microsoft would have to strike another deal with those companies to say, well, if you use Azure Cloud and you game, you can go ahead and use your phone, and we'll have this tech. Sony has this technology on it now that will help reduce latency. That's the way deals get made. That's the way the deals get made. So again, folks, I'm disappointed in Phil Spencer apologizing because they told the truth. So why don't they say blunt? Why don't they say it blunt straight to their ex? They have, Nova. They have. The problem is, I'm serious. The guys these guys are they're good liars for Microsoft. When you look at what they're doing, shout out to King Thrash. I think King Thrash are maybe sick, and I'm sure there's other people out there like this. We all see the writing on the walls, and maybe it's because of our life experiences and what we've been through. We just see things. I mean, you can believe when somebody tells you who and what they are, you need to believe them. And there's a lot of people who don't want to. And again, if it's not in the Wall Street Journal, if it's not in the New York Times, you know, if it doesn't come directly from the companies, you don't believe it. Okay, you simply protect yourself. You don't believe it. Just like you have all these people talking about Sue Storm is going to be played by, who was it, Lady Gaga or something like that. Lady Gaga is supposed to play Sue Storm. Let me see if I can't remember if that's the thing. I'm just going to type in Sue Storm actor. So it says Margot Robbie reportedly offered Fantastic Four reboot. Okay, nobody has come out and said this is true. Nobody has said this. Okay? Nobody. All right, so right now it's just it's a big rumor. You know, it makes some sense. Margot Robbie probably does have the chops. All right, but if she defects over to Marvel, you know she's playing that stupid girl. I can't think of that. What is her name? I can't think of her name now. The one that's always with the Joker. So, I mean, again, so it's a rumor. True Virgil says Chocolate Thunder got double life and he hasn't been with a woman in 2 decades. These console wars have soft skin. You're right. He's gonna put a hurting on him. I don't listen to the guys who do the console war. I can't. Okay. It is, like I said, I start listening to cats like that, my dick starts to itch. It's like, why are you talking about this stuff? Everybody, but I get it. They are dependent on you all and people like us not being smart enough to say, yeah, look, that Microsoft's already put out what they want to do. Either you get into their ecosystem or you don't. Like Nintendo. Nintendo put flat out what they're going to do. Either you enjoy their ecosystem, you get the games, or you don't. You don't. And what Microsoft did, and I agree with Broken Games HD, is that they're carving out their own niche. Now, does it make better stories for people like me who get super chat money and donations and stuff like that? Does it make it better if Microsoft fights toe and tooth and nail and, oh, they're going back and forth? Yes, absolutely yes. But we also have to be able to look at what Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo are actually saying and then put that out there, because that's the truth. That's the truth. Yeah, Harley Quinn, thank you. Yeah. So just imagine if she takes that role. That's man, you talk about being on tilt. That the news that day, if Margot Robbie takes that role, man, that'd be something else. That would be something else. Up, Sam. She would be good as soon. Yeah, I agree. She got the chops. She got the chops to do it. The Xbox are doomed. They are getting hurt. Yeah, because they rather believe a lie than a hard truth. That's it. Look, I'm rooting for Starfield to be really good because I like those types of games. And so if you hear people say, well, he's just saying that because he wants the Xbox. No, I like those type of games. I want Quantum Break to come to PlayStation because I like those types of games. So you all know that, right? I'm a big sci-fi guy. So I like those types of games. Why do I like Forbidden West even more? Is because of the sci-fi element of the humans leaving Earth and going to Sirius and then trying to come back. Whether it's true or not, for me, it added a different layer. I'm like, well, I didn't expect this. Damn, I should have played this before, right? So that has gotten me even further in. So it is what it is. Microsoft doesn't have to worry about getting your money, Jughead Phil interview today submitted. There you go. That's fine. Yeah, and see, that's fine, Sam. Let me make that clear. If what Phil Spencer said today, which was, again, more truth, but more clarity as far as I'm concerned, if it was like when a boxer goes to the side of the ring and they put the smelling sauce in his nose, that provided more clarity for people, then that's fine. Because I just don't know how much more stupid people can get. So I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, at this point, this stuff is borderlining on psychological issues for a lot of these people. So that's why I'm kind of like, I can't deal with it. I'm not going to deal with that. They won't even be in my timeline. And again, for the console warriors and the PlayStation community, I'm not over on your channels. You ain't got to worry about me leaving a comment for your trash ass bullshit that comes out of your mouth. So again, that's fine. Yeah, I'm not here to say, shout out to every man or woman who has built their channel on the console war, but it's over. Got to do something else. Thank God. Like I said, you're going to see how talented these guys really are. Your favorite is Mass Effect 2 and 3. I tell you this right now. Microsoft published Mass Effect 1. They published it. So that is a lot of people. Look, that we have our own Mass Effect community online. And it's a big community. That's because of Microsoft. So again, we will forever be happy or grateful that Microsoft published that game. BioWare didn't take that game to Sony. They took it to Microsoft, who again had to be convinced to publish the game, because they did not want a competitor to Halo. But when Casey Hudson took them the demo and they said, look, this is an RPG. It's not a straightforward shooter. You're making decisions. You're talking to people. Okay, yeah, Master Chief don't do that. So yeah, we'll publish your game. He basically told people Xbox consoles is dead, being based off their moves. It was common. So, yeah, again. But if he provided more clarity, I got no beef, none. If that's what it took for him to come out and say what he said today, okay, he just shouldn't have apologized. He just should have said, look, I'm not going to apologize because we have already said that we are going to make more AA games and try to give them a AAA feel. Okay, this live service game didn't work. That's all. This live service game is struggling out the gate. Okay, we're going to keep working at it. But ultimately, this is what we're going to do. I just, okay. Now, that doesn't mean they won't make, yeah, they have Bethesda. Bethesda will make another Wolfenstein game. They'll make another Fallout game. Those games are huge. So, I mean, Fallout is gigantic. It's one of the biggest games I have enjoyed. So I'm looking forward to the next Fallout. I didn't care for New Vegas, but I liked 3 and 4. But yeah, but guys, that was it. I'm going to bounce on off here. Like I said, it's about 7:30, and I'm going to go ahead and finish. I'm going to watch another Star Wars movie, probably Attack of the Clones. It looks like we're just lining them up back to back to back. So it is May the 4th. Go ahead and watch a good Star Wars movie, read a Star Wars book, or start writing your own. So God forbid you actually do something like that. But guys, I'm a bounce. I do appreciate you being here. You all have a good rest of the night. And I will talk to you Saturday.